Hello, and welcome back, my friends. I haven't checked, but I think it's been a little bit. I've somehow unweaved myself from the incubus of marathon and am taking my last slivers of energy to bring you guys my opinions on some shit you did not ask me about. We're back. We're back. And, this video, as most of my videos, unfortunately, is late. Is and are late. This one, though, this one is late because I was so disillusioned with the entire thing. And to be disillusioned with it is insane. But it really just accentuates something that I've been feeling for the last couple years about PlayStation, and let's bring it up. And we have here on March 24th, courtesy of MBG, Dark Outlaw was announced to be a new first-party PlayStation studio in March 2025, led by industry veteran Jason Bundell. Just 1 year later, they are closing, but it is worth noting that the studio was formed after a failed partnership with Deviation Games. Seems like they just couldn't get it together, sadly. And however it goes, it just really shows that PlayStation was way too eager to jump into bed with companies this generation, and I really cannot understand why, when their process of doing things was so widely praised and so successful, right? You work with a company for a couple games, you get a feel for them, they get a feel for you, and if it's a fit and they're, able to be acquired, you go for that. How that became this giant purchase spree is insane and sad and a huge sign of mismanagement. You know what I mean? It's a telltale sign of mismanagement. There's nothing else that could be. Really, Sony made a lot of money during all video games made a lot of money during that COVID era, and that's what led to the acquisition era. And honestly, you just gotta say these motherfuckers lost their minds. Like, the shit they was doing was absolute bullshit, and it's doing material harm to the industry and the developers. Like, the platform holders, really PlayStation and Nintendo, not Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox, Embracer, you know what I mean, fucking Saudi now. People are coming in and just buying huge swaths of the gaming industry, and then when it doesn't immediately work, they just shit out the people who work there. They just shit them right out. And a lot of them say, hey, I didn't really particularly like this experience of getting shit out of a company. I think instead of this, I will take my talents and do something else. You know what I mean? And potentially not even make games. And there is so much talent drain in this industry, man. You know what I mean? The people who will go on to make the next Metal Gear, the people who will go on to make the next Dark Souls, the people who will go on, those people are gone. And they're not coming back because they found a job in software engineering where they get to work from home. And I would never blame them for that. You know what I mean? Like, why would you do that instead of this? Especially when you have gamers the way they are now that are just so desperate for drama and you know what I mean, negativity, just super addicted to negativity to the point where you're biting the people who make games for you constantly. Why would you want to develop games in this environment where they're making so much money? I shouldn't say they're barely making money, but they're barely making money for the people who make them. You know what I mean? It's really not like the old days where you could kind of come in with your scrappy idea, and if it's a really good game, you can on Steam and stuff, so that Wild West still kind of exists, but not in the same way of like, we made Doom, so, we made this big game and now everybody fucks with it, and, we're out here, not even in the Apex Legends way of we made Apex. Even the motherfuckers who made PEX, even the motherfuckers who made Apex couldn't come back and just be like, yo, we made a big one, dude. It's gonna be fire. Niggas didn't care, and niggas won't care, and it's an evolving industry. You know what I mean? It's ultimately a maturing industry, and this is for the industry, like, it's a growing pain, but it's like ugly. Like, this is like your ugly teenage years. Like, oh, what you did there was a bad thing. What you did there was awful, and you should be like reprimanded for it. You know what I mean? That's not a mistake you can make. And then, and these were, you know, I don't really want to call it a mistake, because like a mistake is something you did not mean to do, but you're spending millions of dollars in telling these companies, hey, we're gonna have a long future together, and then shit doesn't look right on your balance books. Somehow all of this is happening. Somehow you can buy Snoopy for $1 billion, but this company's gotta go. Like, it's just really like kind of crazy how dismissive the games industry is, and PlayStation has been, of the talent that creates the games. And that's why, you know what I mean, something like Marathon is such a good game. It really is. Of course this was going to be about Marathon, dog. Are you kidding? But Marathon is such a good game. And the IP and property they have here is really so special. It's so deep. There's so much going on. I've explained it all before. And like this, but what we now know with the benefit of time is that Marathon is not a smash hit. Marathon is not a game that is going to appeal to the masses at all. It is sticking at about like 50-ish, 60-ish thousand people across the board who really fuck with this game. And I have been saying for years that is what they need to target. This is the exact thing. This is the exact thing. And I think that, you know, make fun of me if you want, I think Concord was a good enough game to do that in its gunplay and its basic mechanics. You know what I mean? What it showed me was a competent first-person shooter. You know what I mean? And I think it had room to grow. That didn't get a chance to do it. Okay, knock that one out. That one's done. Marathon is here. Marathon is made by Bungie, a prestige studio. You know what I mean? They have and the game is good. Like, just ultimately, the game is really fucking good. And the IP is good. PlayStation is supposed to be big on IP right now. Make this an anime. Make some movies. There's so much you can do with this. They've given you an amazing clay, right? Bungie has given you an amazing clay under the PlayStation umbrella. If you squander this, this is just truly no longer the company or platform holder that I believe them to be, because I don't believe that, you know, PlayStation is some sort of like a good guy. You know what I mean? PlayStation isn't my homie. PlayStation isn't doing it for the love of the game. Like, it's none of that. I understand that it's a business, but at the end of the day, you're a business about art. So you have to understand that art, you know what I mean, sometimes has to be molded. Are you making investments in these companies? Right? That's the difference right there. Are you actually investing in these companies in order for them to grow and for you to grow with them? Or are you just accumulating? Are you just accumulating? And if you say, hey, this thing we accumulated is now, you know, needing time to do the thing, or did not do the thing we wanted it to do immediately, cut it off. Like, that's insane. That's not management. That's not company running. That's insane. And it has to be called out as such. You know what I mean? I have another write-up here. So we have a tweet here from at Daily Hub Ranks, spelled RANX. And I vehemently disagree with the framing of this tweet, but it just has all the information. They try to make it sound like, I'll just read it. Sony, in quotations, shut down 8 studios since the PlayStation launched. He has that in quotations like it's not true, but it is true. So, again. But the context matters. The context is that they did that. Most of these weren't the core OG PlayStation giants. That's true, but that's the problem again. Why did you acquire them if you were just going to throw them away? I've always fought against the idea that you could have squeezed a whole bunch more games out of this console generation if you didn't have like the live service push. Because if you look at PlayStation's first party studios, most of them have put out games and or are going to put out games. So I just vehemently disagree with that. I don't think there's anywhere they really could have gotten them from because everybody was engaged for the most part. But when you look at this list, it just shows that there was a bunch of money that could have been spent to fund other games or in things of that nature, because what certainly didn't happen was these studios didn't make shit. So you were just overly investing in these studios trying to get a bigger cut when you should have just been moderate. You know what I mean? I've praised PlayStation this entire time for being moderate. Little did I know they were fucking sneaking ham hocks in their pants and shit. Like, open up their pants, they got a rack of ribs. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck? Gluttonous motherfucker, bro. Stop it. And it's like, you're just taking on more than you can handle. Clearly, you just bit off way more than you could chew, and it broke your fucking teeth. But through that, you're also harming something else. You're harming other people, and you're harming the industry overall. You know what I mean? And I think they need to be called out for it. Of course, it's a horrible practice, a terrible practice, and I can only hope that they've learned. But I would have hoped that they learned, you know what I mean, with Concord, and then they bought into Dark Outlaw like a year later. You know what I mean? So I can't really say that I have confidence that you've learned. I can't say that I have confidence in that. But for now, truly, my litmus test is Marathon. You know what I mean? What they do with Marathon is going to show me where PlayStation's mind is really at and what we're actually doing here. Because, chances are, like, you already, like, broke my trust with your live service push with Concord, because I actually liked Concord and you shut it down one day while I was at work without no notice, while I was looking forward to coming back and playing. So that was weird. And that did not make me want to invest $40 with you again. If it were not for Marathon's, very unique aesthetic and offering, I wouldn't have even tried. But then I did, and the game was gas. So if you were to then shut that down as well, bro, like what am I supposed to do, right? Fool me once, bro. Fool me twice. It's not gonna happen again, bro. I promise you that. I mean, it's insane. It's just insane. So that's really where I'm at. It's sad to be disillusioned with this kind of thing because it's just like, oh, here they go shutting down another studio, bro. That's just what they do at this point. We have more PlayStation proper exclusives than game studio shutdowns, but the gap is narrowing, which is not the way that you want to go with that. It really is not. Insane. But as always, you know what I mean? I'm here because the convenience of the console and the games are good. You know what I mean? PSSR2 works for me because I like console gaming and I like graphics and high frame rates. It really is just that simple, but when you fucking do shit like this, it sure makes it feel complicated. Holy shit. But, all we can do is play games, man. There's nothing we can really say or do that's going to affect these companies. You can only hope that their own hubris, is enough to tether them to the earth. Is enough to weigh them down to keep their feet on the ground. Fucking A. But, as always, I am preacher. And I do so hope to see you right back here on the pews. Try Marathon. Give it a shot. Just one shot.